Good afternoon, everyone. I am Aya or Himayatus from GCB. And for today's occasions, I'm Sustainable Data Analyst from GCB Coco, representing on behalf of GCB and also representing our manager, Wendy, who's going to join us in the Q&A session. So a bit of introductions first on our company. We're fully an integrated cocoa ingredient suppliers, and our cocoa core business is cocoa grinding. We operate our grinding facilities in Malaysia, Indonesia, Cote d'Ivoire, and also some of the, besides grinding, we also produce chocolate in Germany, in UK, and also in the US. So essentially from grinding to chocolate productions, is covering in our own factory operations. And moving on to the next slide. Okay, so one of our current key challenges is that we are currently depend on external carbon accounting service in terms of sustainability, our sustainability work. While it's indeed helpful, but it also limits our visibility into where emissions, our emissions actually comes from, and as well as when it comes to improve in terms of our data or in-house emissions, our current in-house emissions. And to address this, what we're proposing is we plan to build an in-house carbon accounting tool where it will provide a more granular, transparent, and frequent reporting, because currently one of our dependency is our reliance on third party only allow us to report twice a year. And also the second one is to strengthen trust with our customers and suppliers by establishing a system that allows us to share traceable carbon data, because we do have our customers spending globally, and some of customers, especially the one in Europe, start to requesting us in terms of our PCF, as well as the some of our potential product carbon footprint that we currently have, especially when it comes to want to comply with the EUDR regulations. And also the third one is to provide detailed product level emissions informations whenever our customers request it. Moving on. Okay, I do hope this is pretty much clear, but if you could perhaps zoom in on the flow chart, this is basically something that we're expecting us to have enhancement in terms of our in-house carbon data. On the upside, this is the comparison of our current in-house carbon data inventory or current carbon data calculation. Well, the one below is what we expect to be built or enhanced version on our carbon accounting tool. And to give an overview as well, currently our reporting is still on a manual, collecting the data on Excel-based versions. And we also do aware that the inefficiency that we have, especially not to mention that each of our subsidiary companies have a different reporting template, as well as the different factory operations. So the things that I would highlight is basically on the first left part, is on the part of purchase goods and services, while if Husna could zoom in on that part. So the current reporting we have is basically we're still relying on only a single activity of purchase cocoa beans. When the emissions factor we use is still relying on conventional emissions factors. This means that this EF representing the overall supply emissions, including the land use part, as well as the harvesting beans, etc., until it purchased or purchased by us. And then what we expect us to have in the enhanced version of our in-house data, we will have a more granular farm level data, where we could also include things like this, just as an example, is the fertilizer and also pesticide applications on the farm, as well as land use change impacts during the production phase. Because at the same time, we're currently also working with another third party that would help us in tracking the potential land use change via monitoring on the farm level side. And we want to include that farm level data where it has the data of GeoJSON or mapping within our in-house carbon data inventory. Okay, now you could zoom out on that part. Okay, Another thing to highlight is this is pretty much critical for us, considering that 80% of our GCB's total emissions comes from purchased cocoa beans. Not to mention that our finished products is not only the cocoa grinding, but also cocoa cake, cocoa liquor, cocoa mass. Those are the things that currently we are processing, and we are currently have a difficulties in trying to build customized emissions factors. So what we expect and what we are highlight here is to have a more automatic, granular upstream data that enables GCB to set realistic and measurable target once we submit on SBTI target that we expect to do it next year. Moving on. Okay, this is the potential stakeholders involved as well as the impacted in our current limitations of carbon accounting. For example, on the first one is for farmers. We collect field data, but emissions aren't calculated at the farm level because we only rely on how much or how the weight-based purchased cocoa beans that we have. So this is pretty much hard to demonstrate like sustainability improvements, even though the beans accounted for like 80%, and also for our flight emissions is around more than 90%. And the second one is for middlemen and traders. So basically, we rely on the data collection on the farm level from these middlemen and traders. So we do not interact directly with the farmers. But because of lack of verified data, means we cannot prove the deforestation-free sourcing or calculate reliable Scope 3 emissions. Another thing is from our operation team and supply chain team to provide it, like for example, beyond our purchased cocoa bean, but also to provide things like transport data, but without detailed routes and vehicle information, emissions accuracy remains low. Moving to the next slide, please. Okay, so basically, this is what we're currently highlight on some of technical requirements that we identify as well as the performance requirement. Because for this tool to work effectively, the potential solutions provider gonna work as well together with our IT team to make sure that the later in-house carbon accounting software would gonna be integrated to our company system. So in terms of the technical side, we expect this list, things like it's pretty much technical. And also for the performance requirements, things like disaggregate emissions, either like can identify hotspot of cocoa bean sourcing beyond than just the weight-based purchase cocoa beans. It will be fertilizer use and also potential land use change, farm level, and also operation data. And also the important one is to move from annual to biennial updates, or even like every 4 or every data updates exist on our site. And also decarbonization related project inventory, because starting from next year, we're gonna try to implement list of projects, for example, like purchase racks, and also like a circular economy. Okay, moving on. Okay, so here's basically the pilot project we expect to have. The locations for this pilot project will be on South Africa, on Ivory Coast, where one of our big factory presents. And also for the timeline, that will be 1 year development and testing, where the scale in the farm level, especially for the purchased goods and services, and company level deployment. And for the initial data for the pilot project will be on scope 1, 2, and the 2 major emission sources, which is purchased goods and services, as well as the upstream, downstream transport data. And what will be the desired outcome? Definitely a visibility of supply chain emissions, especially on the farm level, higher accuracy and automate tracking, ability to calculate operation level, and also project-based emissions tracking that I've mentioned before, some of our upcoming projects next year. As for the support on resource that GCB would have, this is in total will be 50,000 USD, including 15,000 USD for these pilot projects. And some of our disclosures for historical emissions, the methodology we're currently use, the data set that we are currently dealing with, etc. And what we expect to have once the pilot project is successful is whether it will be scaled up across other supply chain activities that we currently have, and also it will be implemented beyond our factory in Ivory Coast, but also on our 12 different factories spanning globally. And also, it will help us to strengthening data accuracy and credibility. I think that is all from our side.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Himayatus. Yeah, it's a very elaborate presentation. So we have a couple of questions. I think one of it you already answered as you're presenting. We will go to the next one. That's from Navarun. Would you consider improvement in waste and emission management beyond the traceability of data, especially at the farm and processing level?
Okay, as for currently, we haven't really focused on waste, but that will be an interesting thing to explore on. But we are focusing on is more on the farm level emissions data that we're currently dealing on, especially since we already have basically a list of farm level data such as pesticide use, fertilizer use, as well as potential land use change. I believe that Wendy already joined as well, and feel free to add in if I miss. I hope that answered.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Next question from Benji. Are you looking to calculate product carbon footprint, LCA, for your cocoa beans?
Actually, yes, because more and more of our customers, especially from UK, requesting for the PCF data, and we also expect and currently because we're still relying on conventional emissions factor, so having PCF data would highly be valuable, especially considering that our finished products various from like cocoa bean, cocoa liquor, milk chocolate, where each of the products has a different ingredients also. And currently what we're doing is we're making assumptions only, but having a more PCF or more granular emission factor per type of products that we have would be highly valuable.
Got it. Thank you. Next question from Benji as well. Are you looking for cloud or on-prem deployment, as the latter could be much more expensive?
Yes. So consultant or IT team, basically they provide flexibility on that. We put the IT team will support both, but as for the pilot project, it's more flexible to rely more on cloud server first.
Got it. Yes. Yeah, I think both Navarun, Benji, hope that answered your question.